Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because, guys, if you saw yesterday's video, which was hilarious, by the way, you should go watch it when you're done. It's in the top right. We watched Bitcoin live break a very important level of resistance, that being the 21-day moving average, when Bitcoin was around $6,400. We broke through that, and that was really the last confirmation that I was looking for before I would officially say that I believe Bitcoin is going to go on a rally leading us up to around the $7,000, $8,000 price range, and potentially even break out of this descending triangle pattern that Bitcoin has been in the last about 4 months or so. I do believe we're finally going to see that rally now that we've broken this, and I want to break down in today's video that breakout. I want to talk about that breakout, and I want to do some technical analysis about where I believe the cryptocurrency market is going to go in the next couple of weeks and into the next month or so. But before we get into that, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. We do cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. But anyway, let's get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $6,600 with a daily volume of $4.7 billion in the last 24 hours. It's up about 1.5% in the last 24 hours. It's actually up a little bit more than this. I'm recording this a little bit more than 24 hours after I recorded the last one. But nevertheless, the entire cryptocurrency market is doing quite well. As we scroll down here on CoinMarketCap, we see quite a bit more green than red. And the red that we do see is not that drastic. We see some negative 2%, negative 3%, negative 0.13%. That's nothing. Negative 0.7%. There's a negative 11%. No, that was negative 1%, excuse me. So the entire cryptocurrency market is doing pretty well. It's looking pretty healthy. Bitcoin did get very strong support, that $100 billion market cap level about a week ago. It double bottomed down there. We'll be talking about that as well. But one thing to talk about with the market capitalization of the entire market is we are finally back above $250 billion in market cap. We briefly fell below that as Bitcoin went below $6,000, but now we're back above that. And with what we're going to be talking about in today's video, I think that's going to steadily continue to rise. Something else I want to talk about is Bitcoin's dominance. Now, guys, I've talked about Bitcoin's dominance quite a lot on the channel because it's really a good risk aversion indicator. When Bitcoin's market dominance is rising, what we normally see is that there's more risk aversion in the market. People are, by definition of what market dominance is, are pulling their valuation out of altcoins, putting it back into Bitcoin, something that they would perceive as a less risky investment. People like to tether in Bitcoin. You know how you put money into tether. People do that with Bitcoin a lot, and that's what we normally see when Bitcoin's market dominance is rising. We're seeing more risk aversion, and in a growing market like this, we want to see a lot of risk taking because people need to actually be funding these ICOs and actually pumping up these, not necessarily ICOs, but funding these smaller cryptocurrencies and getting the technology going. So it's not a great thing to see Bitcoin's market dominance going up. We definitely want to see it going down. Also, because when Bitcoin's market dominance is going down, that typically correlates with the entire market going up. So there is a correlation there. That's definitely something to watch out for. And in the last couple of days, we've actually peaked out on our market dominance on Bitcoin. We went all the way up to around 43% just a couple days ago. And now we're actually seeing a little bit of a decline. As you can see, we ran up to just about exactly 43% on the 29th, and now we're cooling off a little bit. I'd like to see that trend continue as Bitcoin starts to get more momentum and we move back up to the downtrend on Bitcoin's chart, that being this downtrend right here. Now, in yesterday's video, when we watched the breakout happen live, guys, I was talking about how I wanted Bitcoin to get above the 21-day moving average to really confirm a actual rally here in the next couple of days, and we watched it live. That was really funny. If you guys haven't watched that, go watch it in the top right. It was hilarious. About 6 minutes in, I laughed for a good 45 minutes after recording that video. I couldn't stop laughing. It was absolutely hilarious to me anyway, but I'm a nerd. But one thing that I didn't do in yesterday's video is I didn't zoom into the hour chart and show you it happening there. So this is what the actual breakout looked like. We saw this big green candlestick, and I want to do some technical analysis on it today and talk about where we're going to be going in the next little while. So what we saw, of course, was Bitcoin's initial pump. We didn't catch this one on camera, but we did watch this in the Discord server. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and join the Discord server. I've got some more things to talk about with the Discord servers in a little bit. But guys, if you have... I already said that. But guys, in the Discord server, we watched this pump happen, and for a couple of days, Bitcoin was trading sideways, kind of gradually trending downward just a little bit. But then we actually got another pump in yesterday's video. Like I said, big green candlestick, nice big green volume candlestick also to confirm it. And we saw it come up here to what was sort of already an uptrend here. And right now, after this is all played out a little bit and the market's a little bit more developed, what we can see is an actual pattern right here. We can see an ascending trend line of resistance and an ascending trend line of support. I have a whole video on trend lines. If you guys aren't that familiar with trend lines, then there's a link to watch that in the top right. But essentially what we're seeing is like an ascending triangle pattern. That's basically what we see here. It's not called an ascending triangle pattern. An ascending triangle pattern would have a flat top, but that's what this pattern basically means. And this pattern, depending on how this plays out, this is a triangle pattern of sorts. So I would like to see Bitcoin break one way out of this. It's definitely going to. What I think is probably going to happen in the next couple of days is Bitcoin is actually probably going to break bearish out of this. Now, the reason I say it's probably going to break bearish out of this is because of the nature of the 21-day moving average. Now, the 21-day moving average, guys, if you have chart vision like I do, you look at this moving average and you can instantly tell why it's so powerful. But for a lot of you guys, I know a lot of you guys are newer, so I'll go ahead and go over it again a little bit. I talked about it a lot in yesterday's video before the breakout happened. But the 21-day moving average is very powerful because we get resistance and support on it quite often. And when the market's above it, typically you're in a bull market. When the market's below it, typically you're in a bear market. And one thing that happens when you actually finally get above it is you normally see a retracement back to the 21-day moving average, and you actually see a test of support there. And I'm thinking of a good example of this happening back here last July, actually, right around the time that I got into cryptocurrency. Bitcoin had initially run up to $3,000. That was currently the all-time high, and then we fell below the 21-day moving average. From there, we ran up and saw a very similar pattern to what we saw just a couple days ago that's played out in the last week. We saw Bitcoin get above the 21-day moving average in an absolutely spectacular way, and in the next couple of days, we flagged out and saw a little pullback to the 21-day moving average, got support on it, and went up to make a new all-time high. Now, guys, we're not going to all-time high in the next 2 weeks. I don't think. I'd be willing to bet that we're not going to, but I do think we're going to see a rally similar to this. And normally, like I said, when you see the 21-day moving average get breached, you see the market retrace and get support on it. We kind of saw this right here. We saw a little pullback. We didn't get all the way to it, but we did see a touch on it over here. I remember watching that live. I was doing TA on that stuff back then. We saw something similar happen here. We pulled back, got support, had another run, but unfortunately, we double topped. We don't really see it that much over here, but that is something that you see quite often on the 21-day moving average is a pullback to test it as support. And if you get support on it, then that's really a really good confirmation that you are actually in a rally. So what I think is going to happen in the next couple of days is Bitcoin, well, one of two things is going to play out. And I think that, and really it could go either way, but what I think is more than likely going to happen is Bitcoin is going to retrace back or at least go sideways a little bit, wait for this 21-day moving average to curve up, something like that. It's going to keep going sideways, get support on it, and then actually go on a little run here. That's the way that the markets normally play out. You see a level of support on the 21-day moving average. The 21-day moving average is, of course, going to start curving back up because it's a short-term moving average, and we are above it, so it is going to start curving back up. We don't need to go down that much, but I could see Bitcoin retracing another $150 down to $6,400 as we are already seeing a red candlestick form here on the day chart. It would be funny if we saw that happen live in today's video as well, but I don't think that's going to happen. But that's one thing that I'm expecting to happen is we're going to come up here, get a little bit of a sideways action, maybe a little bit of a turnover, come down here, get support, and start trending upward. Let's talk about levels of resistance that we're going to want to be watching out for in the next couple of days. Let's get up the 50, the 100, and the 200-day moving average. And the one that we really want to talk about is this moving average right here. Tell me in the comments section down below what color that is. I'm completely colorblind. Not completely, but I couldn't tell you for a Bitcoin what color that is, if it's yellow or green. But nevertheless, this 50-day moving average right here will be lining up right around the $7,000 mark when we get to it. It's trending downward right now, and by the time we actually get up here to touch it, it's going to be pretty close to $7,000, which is, of course, a big even number that we've seen trading around before. So that is going to be an important level of resistance. Let's draw a trend line right here, and I'll show you how important that is. We see kind of a little bit of resistance here. That's about $6,900, but we also see a little bit of support back here around $7,050. So we do see some trading around there, and $7,000 does have 3 zeros in it. Therefore, it is what you would consider a big even, and that also means that normally big evens are where people trade around. So people are definitely going to have sell orders at $7,000. You're going to see a sell wall there. So watch out for $7,000 as the next level of resistance. After that, we've got the 100-day moving average, which is another big level of resistance. This is hovering around $7,500 by the time we get to it because it's going to continue to trend downward. It'll probably be somewhere around like right here when we get to it, something a little over $7,500. So watch out for that. And then, of course, the big level of resistance that we're talking about is the actual downtrend in our descending triangle pattern here. Let's turn volume off so we can see a little better. That would be this downtrend in this descending triangle pattern. That's what I'm looking for Bitcoin to do in the next couple of days, in the next couple of weeks, really, is for it to actually play out everything that we just talked about, go on a rally back up to this descending triangle pattern and break bullish out of it. If we can get a confirmed break bullish out of this with a couple days, a couple closes above it, a couple closes on the daily chart above it, that would be phenomenal. I would very much like to see that happen. And based on more things that I don't have time to get into in today's video, I do believe that's going to happen. We have indicators on the stochastic RSI telling us that. We have indicators in the RSI, which I'll go ahead and show you, that are telling us that. As we can see, the RSI set a low bottom down here halfway through June, and then it started setting higher bottoms even though the price was setting lower bottoms. You can actually draw an uptrend right there, and actually you can see that. As you can see, we were setting higher bottoms on the RSI. I talked about that a couple videos ago. And when you're setting higher bottoms on the RSI, but you're setting lower bottoms on the price action, that's called RSI divergence. And that's typically a reversal pattern, which lines up with everything else we're talking about right now. Pretty much everything is pointing to a reversal happening in the next couple of days, but I think you guys get the point on that. I'm going to continue doing technical analysis on this as we run back up to this downtrend because I do think that's going to happen. Now, guys, markets have a tendency to throw a curveball at you. Markets never act the same way twice. Everything I'm saying here could be wrong, but from all the technical analysis I've done and from the technical analysis a lot of people that are very smart have done, I do believe based on the technicals and also based on the fundamentals, which I haven't yet gotten into, that Bitcoin is going to be moving up to that descending triangle pattern, this level of resistance. Now let's move on to some news. Coinbase has recently launched something called Coinbase Custody. This is one of its investment vehicles for larger scale institutional investors, and I do believe the minimum investment amount for this is $10 million. So this is nothing that the majority of us are going to be able to invest in. If you have $10 million in Bitcoin, there's donation links down in the description. Feel free to send me some if you want. Something I wanted to point out is that this is a little rocket launch thing, and there's images of Kerbal Space Program over here. If you guys have ever played that game, Cointelegraph has images of KSP over there. That's pretty funny. But Coinbase has launched its actual one of its institutional vehicles for people to invest in it. And this is something that was, and I'm going to go on a little tangent here. This is something that a channel called The Moon mentioned in his video today. If you guys aren't already subscribed to The Moon, go ahead and go subscribe to his channel. Go comment on his latest video that Crypto Jeb sent you. Also, guys, there's going to be a link to his new Discord server in the description and in the pinned comment section. Go join his Discord server. You can also come join our Discord server, which I highly recommend, but he just set up his Discord server. So go join his Discord server and go leave in his comment section that Crypto Jeb sent you. He has a great channel. He's got like 12,000 subscribers, and he does somewhat similar content to me. So go ahead and go over and check out his channel. But anyway, back to what we're talking about here. Coinbase has launched this, and this is going to be a big deal because a lot of institutional investors and a lot of larger investors, they just don't want to get into cryptocurrency in the traditional way that you and I are. It could be for a lot of different reasons. A big reason is because they just don't want, it's risky, okay? And people with this much money, they don't need to take as big of risks as we do because if they get 7% a year on $10 million, what is that, $700,000? That's a lot of money. You don't need to get a 200x return in a year like we do if we want to get really wealthy. They just need to compound their money in a safe way. They don't need to take as big of risks as we do. So Coinbase setting this up is a really good way for people that are very, very wealthy to start getting into cryptocurrency. And a lot of these bigger investors, they just don't know much about cryptocurrency. So Coinbase launching this is definitely a good sign. We would like to see more institutional money come into cryptocurrency. Guys, if you want to read this entire article, I highly recommend doing so with the link in the description down below. I'm not going to go into a bunch of different details about what's going on here. You guys can go read the article for yourself. But needless to say, this is actually a big development, and I would like to see more ways for institutional investors to get into cryptocurrency continue to develop in the next couple of months and into the next year or so. We talked about the Van Eck ETF. You can watch that video on the top right here. That's a big deal. If that goes through, that's going to be huge because we're going to have another method for institutional investors to get in. Guys, there are all kinds of, you know, all those quotes that people in politics always talk about, like, oh, the 1% hold like 50% of the world's value. Yeah, probably that might be true. So what we should do with that is try and get the 1% in here. We should try and get their money. So if we can get their money coming in, we could absolutely flood the market. If we can get Wall Street investing in cryptocurrency in the same way they invest in stocks, Bitcoin and crypto will be a $10 trillion market within 5 years. Guys, this is a big deal, and I really do recommend you guys keep up with this news. We'd like to see more institutional money coming in. So definitely go read this article if you haven't already. I'm not going to go through it. We don't have time. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys haven't already, drop a like, hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell. We do crypto videos every single day here, guys. And like I said earlier, I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at CryptoJeb. You can see the link to do so in the description down below, but it's just going to say at CryptoJeb. So go look me up on Twitter and Instagram and follow me there. I post all kinds of ramblings over there that you might find interesting. And like I said, also go join the Moon's Discord server and go tell him in his comment section that CryptoJeb sent you. I think that would be pretty funny. I've been talking to him. He's a nice guy, and he does good content. I think he knows what he's talking about. You guys will get good value out of him. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.